Hey, this is Al Angelo from A Plus Racing. We're coming with you with another exciting video by your request. So I'm getting a lot of requests like, hey, Al, how do you pack the front hubs? Today's your lucky day. I'm going to show you how to pack the front hubs, how I do it. So I've got a vehicle right here. This car's going to the 25 hour. I'm going to show you how to take the hub off. And not only that, but we're also going to go ahead and replace the studs with long studs. I know this one already has it. So I'm going to show you how to pull the hub off. And then I've got another hub set aside that needs to have the long studs put in and be repacked. All right, so, but I want to show you how I take the hub off, okay? And then some of this you already know because if you watched any prior videos, it's about taking this whole brake system apart. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and film it over here. Oh, by the way, today's Veterans Day. We're not in school today. I want to thank my veterans out there who have served our country to help keep us free. Thank you very much for your time and your sacrifice. I got my buddy Randall from my 4th period class. He's filming us today. We're here on our day off. We're going to be working on cars, and we're showing you how to do the video. All right, so I'm going to take off this bottom caliper. And basically what I'm doing is, you know, I'm trying to take off that bottom bolt. So I'm going to take this 17 off. Go back to the impact gun, try to make it faster. There we go. Okay. I'm going to lift this off. Hang that on the shelf. Okay, I got to take this bracket here off, so I need a 14. And I got one there. Okay, so I'm going to take the bracket that holds the pads in place. I'm going to take that off. So I'm trying to work myself to getting this rotor off. And I'm going to be very careful with this bracket since it already has all of the brake pads on it. I don't want them to fall out on the ground. So I'm going to set this thing aside. Okay, so I got it. I'm going to set it right over here. Off comes my rotor. I'll just slip these back in there where they go. Okay, so the next step is to take this cap off. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this cap off by just hammering it with a hammer, and I got a little chisel here. Yours might not come off this easy. There we go. And then I got to take this nut off, all right? And that's going to help me pull the hub off. So for that, I'm going to use an impact gun. Yeah, I lost my bolt there. All right, I'm going to take that off. And there's our hub. Yeah, I know. This one's already packed and ready to go back on. But I got another one I'm going to use. I'm going to show you how to repack these, okay? So don't panic. We'll be back in a minute, and I'll show you how to do that. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. And I have a hub that I'm going to rebuild. So this is the hub I'm going to build. As you can see, it's a short stud. So one of my first jobs is to go ahead and remove the studs. This is pretty easy. I'm not going to reuse these, so I don't care about the threads. If you want to reuse these, then I recommend that you undo them with a brass hammer or a lead hammer. So I've got a vise here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to just knock them out. They come out pretty easy. I've done this on the car also. Okay, and then I have my Euro studs. I'm going to put these ones on there. These are my Enduro studs. So I'm going to set that on here. And then I just set this here. And I just knock it all the way in. And I get these from Advanced Motorsports in Wisconsin. Old Ben down there, he owns it. He takes pretty good care of me. He's a good guy. So that's where I buy a lot of this stuff. Okay, long studs. Next step, we're going to go ahead and pack these bearings. All right, and we'll come back at you in just 1 minute. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to pack the bearings. And what you're going to need is you're going to need some grease, you're going to need a hammer, some sockets, an extension, and 3 dimes. This is the special tool, okay? So let me show you how we deal with the 3 dimes. So I've got my hub in here. This hub's not meant to come apart, all right? But many of us Mazda drivers have figured a way how to get it apart. Leave it to us to figure out how to take it apart. So basically, if you look inside of here, if you get a good shot, you can see there's a slot in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the dime in that slot. So I want to get all 3 dimes in there, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Honest, I will. Okay. One last one. And there it goes. All right. So if you take a look inside of there, you can see that there are 3 dimes in there. All right. Okay, so now let me show you how to take this thing apart. So I'm going to go ahead and write on this table an F and an R. All right. Okay. And I'm going to pick a socket that fits all the way down on top of those dimes. Okay. So there it is, sitting on top of the dimes. Okay. And then I'm just going to tap out the race. Like that. And this we're going to call the front. So I'm going to set that right here. I'm going to pull my dimes out. And now I'm going to do the rear. I think it's a little bigger socket. Yep. Okay. And then I'm just going to tap it out. Like that. Okay. And I'm going to set this one over here to the rear. All right. On me, Randall. All right. So here's the deal on the hubs. I've been rebuilding these for years. Okay. And when I first started out, I would take all of these balls out and I replaced them with like a grade that was much harder than the factory ones, and I'd mic every single ball to make sure they're the same size. When you're starting racing, this is a big problem. Hubs go bad all the time, and it can cause enough damage to where the wheel can fall off. So if you go and buy the aftermarket hubs from like an auto parts store or something like that, a lot of times that's a really cheap hub, and I know they got a lifetime warranty, but the ball bearings can't withstand the pressures that we put on the race cars, especially if you're sliding and hitting the rumble strips, on the inside and the exit of your turns. The balls go bad. The other problem that I've seen too is that not all the balls are exactly the same size. So when I mic them, I might find one that's just 1,000 or 2 bigger. Well, when one of the balls is bigger, all the weight of the vehicle is on that one ball. And so it starts getting eat up, and then it eats up the race, and then the whole thing's garbage. So that's when I started replacing them with a grade harder than the factory balls. And the problem I ran into is when I would take these balls out with a little screwdriver, a lot of times the plastic cage that they're held into broke. And so, and then the whole thing's garbage. So I started buying hubs from other companies with moderate success. All right, some of the hubs lasted, some of them didn't. So here's what I found that lasted. I go to the wrecking yard and I find an original hub that came off a street car. And I take that original hub, just like this one, and I repack it, rebuild it, and I put it in the car. And since I've been doing that, my failure rate on hubs has dropped immensely, okay? Virtually, very rare do I have a bad hub now, okay? So, and I can repack them over and over. Now, if you look at this hub right here, you can see the grease is kind of white. That kind of tells me that this hub has never been rebuilt. That's the original grease from Mazda. So this is just a hub that came from the wrecking yard, and I'm going to rebuild it, and I'm going to re-grease it, and it's going to be good to go again. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. All right, so I'm going to take this over to our solvent tank, and I'm going to go ahead and clean all the grease out. I'm going to clean my races up. You notice I kept them separated from the front race to the rear race because I don't want to get those mixed up, okay? So once I get all this stuff cleaned up, then I'm going to come back and then we're going to do an inspection to make sure that this hub can be rebuilt, all right? So I'll be right back with this stuff all clean. Okay, we're back. Hey man, Randall cleaned his stuff real good. He's also filming today for me. So you can see we got it all cleaned up inside, both sides. We cleaned it up with some solvent and we rinsed it off with some water and we went in and air dried it. Hey, so I also cleaned up these races. And this area right here that the ball rides on, it needs to be absolutely pristine like a mirror, okay? So this one looks good. And if I look at my front one, it looks really good, but I did find one I wanted to show you. If you can zoom in here, Randall, come on in. You can see right here, you can see this one's all pitted, all right? When you got any pits like that at all, then the hub's no good. Pretty much throw it away. I save the ball bearings and make knives out of them, but that's about it. So this one here is no good. I wanted to show you what one looks like that has failed. All right, so let's go back. How are we going to put this thing back together? All right, well, the next step is I'm going to pack this with grease. So I got some good grease right here. I used to use the Red Line, racing grease. I really can't tell any difference between any of them. They all seem to do a pretty good job. So I just kind of use what I got on hand. But I know my man in Chicago was really wanting to know how to pack hubs. So this one's for you too, buddy. All right, so I'm getting plenty of grease on this back bearing. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to the front bearing. You can see the grease is getting in there. And I just get as much of it in between the balls as I can. I don't want any air pockets in there. I want to get as much grease into that as I can get in there. And I'll show you here in a minute. Okay. So that's what it looks like on that side. And that's what it looks like on that side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go back together now. And so here's my front race right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop it on in there where it goes. And then I take and I just lightly tap it in. There it went. Went all the way. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to drop my rear race in there. Okay, now I'm going to know that I got it in all the way when I look at the slot. That, remember, the slot was just big enough for me to get a dime into. All right, so if I look down inside there, I can see that I got my slot just big enough for me to put a dime in. All right, so take off my little excess grease here. All right, so that's the one side. And there's my back side. And I got my long studs in here. I'll put a little bit of grease on these to help my lug nuts go back on. And I got it. All right, so this is now ready to go back onto the car. All right, so let's take a little break. We'll go back and we'll put it on the car. Thanks. Okay, we're back. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to put this back together. All right, how to put the hub back on. So first, I got my repacked hub. I'm going to set it back on there. I got the nut. I put it back on. Now, on this nut, let me get my impact gun. I'm not going to tighten it all the way down with the impact. I just barely got it set down there. So, I need to torque this to 100 pounds. Okay. So, okay, 100 pounds. Then, I'm going to go ahead and put my rotor back on. I didn't drop my brake pads, so I'm going to set them back on. come on over here, Randall. That was a good position you had before. All right. So line this up. Get these bolts started. Like that. Got another one right here. Okay. Got my ratchet. Hope you guys are having a good day off if you got Veterans Day off. We got Veterans Day off. Kind of nice in the middle of the week.
Sad for all you Europeans out there.
But anyhow, I know a lot of you have asked me about this video. I hope that this is something that's been useful to you and that you're going to be able to pack your own hubs now. Okay, got that on. All right, next thing, my caliper. I want to make sure I don't have my I don't have it twisted. Okay, no problem. Let me see. I got it. Okay, so if I'm looking at my sleeve, my slider, it's still got grease on there. I'm still good. I'm going to put that back on. This is a 17, so I'm going to go back to my 17. Make sure it's tight. Okay. Then my center cap goes on last right here. Oh, come around here. I want to show you one last thing. I want to stake this nut. You can see it's where it's been before, but I like to stake it. Good enough. So that it doesn't back off. Okay, that's how I pack the hubs. Thank you for joining me on this Veteran Day. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope that you subscribe and I hope that you like this video. Thank you very much. Bye now.